السلام عليكم إخواني وأخواتي المقبلين على اجتياز مباراة التعليم بالتعاقد. Welcome guys again in this new video concerning always English didactics. This video is an extension of the previous video, which talked about assessment. This is part 2 of classroom assessment. As you remember, we talked about definition of assessment, and I presented and we tackled the main or the key assessment types. We said that there are two types, which are formative assessment and summative assessment, and we mentioned the differences between the two and distinct points that differentiate the two types of assessments. So let's see what we have here in this part. We'll look at what is evaluation and what is a test, then what are the types of a test, and we'll end up this video with the characteristics or features of a good and effective test. So let's begin this video quickly. Let's start with evaluation. Evaluation focuses on grades. Teacher can evaluate his students through testing them. In order to assign grades to students, the teacher should evaluate the student through testing them. So the teacher should test them. It is testing. So let's see what is a test then. So let's move to what is a test. Brown defines a test A test is a method of measuring a person's ability, knowledge, or performance in a given domain. This is the definition of Brown. A test is intended to measure the knowledge and skills one acquires during a sequence of sessions. In short, it is an assessment instrument or tool that is mainly intended to turn students' performance into numbers or digits. So this is the definition of a test. Let's get through what are the types of a test. There are 6 types of tests. Let's we have, let's start with the first one, proficiency test. This test measures a student's knowledge of a language or his or her ability to use that linguistic competence functionally. For example, for getting a job or studying abroad. Or called competence or competency test. The second type is placement test. This test is aimed at sorting test takers into groups so that they roughly have the same level as other students in the group when they start studying. The third test is diagnostic test. Its purpose is to reveal the strengths and weaknesses of the test takers. It is usually designed to guide remedial instruction, and it is usually occurs at the beginning of the year or course or unit. Let me underline for you the keywords of these tests. It's better to highlight them for you. Let me finish them and afterwards we'll take time to highlight them together. Let's go to the fourth test, which is formative test. It is an ongoing process of testing that helps the teachers make improvements or on or change their educational strategies and methods and techniques. Formative tests occurs constantly. The fifth test is achievement test. It measures or evaluates what has been learned in a course or a sequence of courses. It measures the extent to which test takers learned the material presented in a course. Actually, we don't need to highlight the keywords because everything is clear, I think. The sixth point or the sixth type or the last type is aptitude test. This kind of test gauges or evaluates or measures the talent, ability, potential to perform a certain task. To discover whether a student has a talent or basic ability for learning new language or not. These are the main types of a test or of tests. We have proficiency tests, placement tests, diagnostic tests, formative tests, achievement tests, and aptitude tests. Let's go get through the last issue which is tackled in this video or within assessments, classroom assessments. It is related to tests. This is very crucial and essential in while we tend to design a test. What are the features of an effective test? Let's start with the first feature or characteristic, which is reliability. What is a reliable test? It is a test that is characterized by consistency. A reliable test is a test that renders or yields the same consistent results when it is administered to the same students in two occasions in different situations. Let's go to the second feature, validity. What is a valid test? It is a test that should measure what is supposed or intended to be measured. The saying test, what you teach illustrates what validity means. Let's move on to the third feature, authenticity. What is authenticity? What is an authentic test? It is defined as the degree of correspondence of the characteristics of a given language test task to the feature of TLU, which is target language use. This point is related to authenticity. The test should make use of language that students are familiar with, and that is often based on themes which were previously covered in the class. Also, the test must make use of authentic materials, since authentic materials help in testing students in a realistic way. Let's carry on. Let's carry on other features. We have practicality. What is a practical test? Is a kind or a type of test is a test that usually does not take too much time for the student to accomplish, to finish. Has a specific and time efficient evaluation procedure. Let's go on. The test should be conducted within a timing that is appropriate. For example, 5 hours for a test is too much. The test should be relatively easy to correct for the teacher. A test that takes a teacher too much time to correct is impractical. The instructions should be clear and marks allotted to each item should be reasonable. There are two principles of practicality of a practical test. We have it stays within appropriate logical time constraint or frame. The second principle, it has a scoring evaluation procedure that is specific and time efficient. Let's move to interactiveness. It refers to the test should make the examinee make use of his metacognitive, such as guessing, reflecting, and thinking, and his competencies in addition to his or her linguistic competencies. we have metacognitive competencies and linguistic competencies of students. Let's move to the last feature of a good test. We have discriminatory questions. Discriminatory questions are often addressed to high achievers, and they are often challenging to them, but not impossible to answer. The purpose of such questions is to discriminate between high achievers, average students, and low-level students. These are the main features of a effective test. Let's go now to the main point, or the main thing in this presentation, which is the effect of a test that has on the teacher and the students, which is washback effect. This is very important. Let's have its definition. It refers to the influence of a test has on individuals. More specifically, it refers to the influence the test has on the test takers, students, and the test designers, which are the teachers. For example, students will realize the mistakes they have made in a test after its correction and rectify them. And the same thing applies to teachers, who may as well work on improving or changing their pedagogical strategies and methods and techniques, so on. This is the last thing in this video, and assessment in general. And specifically a test, the effect of a test on individuals, mainly the student and the teacher. So let's go back to what we have seen. Let's wrap up what we have done so far. We have seen what is evaluation, and we said that it focuses on grading or grades and marks, and teacher can evaluate his students through testing them, through testing. And we looked at what is a test and its types, and what are the features of an effective test, and we ended up this presentation or this video by the effect of a test, which is washback. It is called washback effect. Thank you very much for watching this video and following me, and I hope that you have benefited from the part 1 and the part 2 of classroom assessment. and see you in the next new video. Thank you very much.